a councillor for Sydney City Council. John is a leading expert on planning systems, local government and urban management. And he's going to discuss the findings of the independent report that was commissioned by Sydney City Council.
Good evening, everyone, and I too would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet. Jodie's stolen almost everything I wanted to say. So really, I suppose, I wake up in the morning and I think, actually I've fallen into Alice in Wonderland. I've gone down the chute, and suddenly I'm in this world where logic is totally turned upside down. And the more you think about this project, and the more you follow the way in which government has been putting it together, the more illogical it is. We're signing up a preferred contractor. Before, as Jodie's eloquently told us, there is a business case. Before there is an EIS. What is the government saying to the Minister for Planning? Is it like Barangaroo? Doesn't matter what you do, the Minister's always going to tick it off. The EIS process will say yes. Is that what they're assuming? I suspect so. Now, I've been in and around government for more length of time than I care to think. And I suppose something I learned fairly early is there is a great desire in all of us to assume they know what they're doing. And having worked just outside the federal cabinet, admittedly at a fairly heightened time, can I assure you very often they don't. And what you can't believe is so illogical, the fact is that it is. And what we have here, I think, is a classic example of the boy owners deciding to bully their way through. And you get stories of the lads around the Premier saying, I don't give a stuff about those banks. We're going to build this. And you look at the politics of how this all came about. And we've had for many years this fantasy about renewing Parramatta Road. We've had consultants have finished up buying property in southern France on the reports that have been done about fixing up Parramatta Road. Somebody said, Infrastructure New South Wales got together and the lads were all there, the well-known gang. And they said, well, if we had a tunnel, we could fix up Parramatta Road. So this really started as a fix-up Parramatta Road project. Treasury said, well, we like tunnels because we can toll them. We don't like public transport because it always loses money and we are only subsidising those terrible union people. So tolls are good, tunnels are good. Tunnels take traffic off Parramatta Road, and we can do lots of urban renewal, and Meriden will have lots of opportunities for development. All good. Great. Ticks everyone's box. And I've been in meetings like that you also get meetings where the construction companies look ahead 10 years and work out who's developing what, and are there peaks and troughs, and how can we flatten that out? Well, I'm sure they've been there, along with the lawyers and consultants and all the rest who do so well out of tunnels, and saying, yes, there's a big gap, we could fill it, the rail, the tunnel boring machines will come to an end on the North West Rail, so we need a new tunnel. And then, of course, you had Max. My old mate, Max Morwood. You know, on this body and that body, we all love Max, and we love being in a meeting with him because he is so stimulating and cuts through the bullshit. But he's got the world's biggest parking business and trying to put together a big shopping centre, which in a place where they also occasionally land planes. And WestCONnex is terrific because it'll deliver a whole lot, keep the cars coming into his parking lot and the customers to his shops. He didn't stop to say, why don't we find the money to make it cheap to take the train to the airport? That doesn't ever seem to have been an option. And so it goes. The boys are in charge, the boys are going to bully this through, and they're doing it in the classic way in which Sydney has always done its development. The centre of Sydney is Sydney's CBD. Since Macquarie tried, not terribly strongly, but to shift maybe the capital to Parramatta, which would have made a lot more sense, we've had this radial network feeding into the eastern coast and the centre of the CBD. The rail lines, the ports. Newcastle was not allowed to develop in the early colonial days because Sydney wanted to be the centre. So we've had this radial network of railways, roads, and this is yet another one. And really, we have to step aside from being concerned about how do we ship more cars into this tight little place called the Sydney CBD, where we're not going to have any more cars, and start to think about the Cumberland Plain, restructuring the Cumberland Plain, rethinking the basic transport system, giving the West what the West needs, which is a new structure not based on the motor car. For 70 years, we have built some appalling places. The new suburbs in Western Sydney. Totally car-based, wasteful of land, terrible design, gross houses, so heavily subsidised by the tax system. We have to change the basic way in which we go about managing Sydney. And for the first time, I think people are beginning to think, well, you know, maybe we can do that. How are we going to do it? We are not going to do it by spending $20 billion, because that's what it will cost in the end, increasing the number of cars which are already excessive coming into this little space here on the East Coast. We have to rethink that. And we have to say to the people of the West, don't add 3 more lanes to take you into the traffic jam of Sydney a little bit quicker, maybe, or shift the congestion down a few kilometres. Don't do that. Let's spend $20 billion rethinking Sydney. I'm glad Jodie mentioned my friend Tim Williams. Terrific guy, really left-wing, understands it all, incredibly well experienced from England, great advocate of social housing, terrific guy. This project has, from the beginning, reminded me of that other story, the Emperor's New Clothes. Tim, he didn't make a mistake, he did it quite deliberately. I was talking to him shortly before he made that speech. He said, well, I'm just about to make my resignation letter. He knew what he was doing. But a peasant said the Emperor's got no clothes on. And he was quickly dealt with. Very quickly dealt with. We have to stand up and say, the Emperor's got no clothes on, there is no logic, and we need to rethink the way in which we're managing Sydney. And that's what this project is all about. That's what opposition to this project is all about. And that is the case we have to prosecute. Important as it is about the actual impact on us, but we have to think about it in those terms.